wherever you feel comfortable. You want to sit here or here? I'll be over here because I'm going to be the clicker.
The PTA is called to order at 8:31. A quorum is present. Welcome. We appreciate your time and being here this morning. We're going to do PTA business first, then principal chat, and then Ms. Meyer's going to answer some questions about IB. I'm stepping in for Karen today. She's not here. And Julia is going to present the secretary report.
Hello, I'm Julia Lenz. You have a copy of the minutes in front of you guys if you are interested. They have been approved by a committee of Becky, Erica, and Amanda, and we will continue, we'll do the same committee for the next set of minutes. We met on, the executive board met on February 13th with a quorum present, and we will meet again next in April. Thank you.
Becky Snelson. You have membership update?
481.
481.
One more since last week.
Yes, great job. All right, Kate Weber's got the fundraising report.
Good morning. We are continuing outreach. As I fall over. We're continuing outreach to past sponsors, but we're focusing our attentions to sponsorships, both in kind and monetary sponsorships for MatFest on April 10th. We continue to run Spirit Nights. We do not have the numbers in from Dave & Buster's on the 17th just yet, but the next Spirit Night is PTA's on Burnett, which is booked on March 3rd.
Short and sweet, good job. Okay, now I am doing, So we've got staff appreciation going on. We have our teacher lunch on the 26th for February. And then counselor appreciation week, we brought lunch for the counselors that week. SRO Appreciation Week is this week, and we're buying lunch for them. Cafeteria Appreciation Week is next week, also doing lunches. And then we do monthly teacher lunches, so we bring in cake once a month for the teachers that have birthdays that month. Well, it's for everybody, but it's to celebrate those teachers. 7th grade dances tonight. If you have a 7th grader, make sure you bring cash and be there tonight. I'll do Karen's report too. Upcoming events, we have the 7th grade dance tonight. On the 23rd, there's an ACPTA virtual screening. There's a link in the newsletter if you need it. And save the date for Mat Fest, April 10th. And if you want to help with Mat Fest, please reach out to me or Mat Fest. And April 15th is Crime Stoppers. Callie Conklin from Crime Stoppers is going to come talk to us about AI generation. And that will be here from 6:30, I believe it's 7:30. There will be an RSVP for that, but it's coming soon. Amanda has treasurer's report.
Good morning. The financial report today is that the PTA's beginning balance as of January 15th was $137,106.11. We had $600.19 in income and expenses totaling $2,405.75. With our current liabilities of $481.86, our balance as of the 19th of February is $135,355. Our 7th grade dance is happening tonight, so we'll have totals from that at our next meeting. And with cost up this year, we've had a request to amend the budget for staff appreciation of $3,000 so that we can finish the year strong. And in preparation for Mat Fest and end of year celebrations, we would like to suggest to amend the budget for building and grounds plus 15.
So based on what Amanda just said, we have a motion to amend the budget for staff appreciation and building and grounds. Is there a second? Second. Whoever seconds, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. That's all from me.
Mary Kay, do you want to say anything about Callie Conklin? Or Straight Talk?
Kind of already mentioned the PTA event coming up for Straight Talk, but what that is every other year, Texas State PTA puts on a big presentation on the topic of choice. This year it's the AI generation. They put it on and then they broadcast it to the whole state. So Austin Council of PTAs is having a viewing party for that if you're interested. It's gonna be some really good quality speakers, and the link is on their website. And then my other ACPTA announcement is primary voting is currently, we're in early voting right now, so please vote.
All right, Ms. Harris has her.
Step over very gently.
All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. We are entering into what I call our testing season, unfortunately. We did our interim star a couple of weeks ago, and that went really well. It actually helps us to make sure our logistics and things are in place, so that's why we do it like a real star. Since it is a release test, it gives teachers some information on what kids have learned, but there also is stuff on there that kids may not have been taught yet on the test. So we tell students, don't worry too much about your score. If you're in the 50s, 60s, you're okay, because there's like half the test that you still have to learn. MAP growth reports should have gone home. Ms. Meader printed those all out and gave them to math and ELA teachers, so you can see how your kid is doing on MAP growth for that. We had NAEP tests this week, and we didn't meet 90% of the 8th graders that were chosen, so we have to do a makeup day. Yeah, real fun time. So we gotta do a makeup day. We're gonna have that scheduled for March the 9th. That's the week right before we go on spring break, that Monday. That's the only day that seemed to fit, because we also have TELPAS testing for our emergent bilingual students going on, and science and social studies have to do their interim assessment. So we've been like kind of finagling. So NAEP is just an added thing that we don't like being chosen. Yes, ma'am.
Everyone has to do it, like the 8th graders select it, or
the ones that missed. And then they might randomly select a few more so that we meet the 90%. Yeah, because we give them the list of 8th graders and they choose who takes the test. So we got to do a makeup day. Yes, ma'am.
Do you notify parents that kids were taking that test, or is it just a random?
If it's anyone that's chosen to take it, gets a notification and say you were selected for NAEP, and there is an opt-out, but then NAEP probably will choose a couple more kids if someone opts out so we can make the 90%. So we still have that coming up. Then we have TELPAS testing as well. So I'm going to be sending out a couple of kind of standalone newsletters in addition to my Sunday newsletter, because in advisory, we're going to increase the days that students practice on their IXL. And our math and reading teachers have actually gone in and selected like what we call our high leverage standards, like they know it's tested a lot on STAR. And so we want kids to practice those. And we have a list of students that, according to their MAP growth, MAP is a pretty good indicator of how kids are going to do in STAR, so we use that a lot. And according to MAP, if they are predicted to make growth, right, and we've seen them making growth, we're going to make sure that advisory teachers know who those kids are, so they make sure that they're staying on task and doing their IXL and stuff. And of course, the math and reading teachers know who those kids are already in their class, and we'll be making sure they get support. So 8th grade will still have their day for community service. Everybody still gets their outside day. And of course, we can still use advisory on Fridays for like tutorials or making up quizzes, but we're just gonna practice a little more IXL before our start. Because we only have 5 weeks. When we counted it out with my ELA department chair, he was like, it's 5 weeks to reading start. And spring break takes away, a week in there as well. So we're like, we'll start with that. So I'll send that out as well. And I will also notify you if your student is one that's kind of, I guess, our focus student, like they're projected to make growth, and so their advisory teacher's gonna be making sure they're getting it done and things like that. Last year, we did move some advisories, and I think it worked well, but it also was kind of hard on the kids having the same advisory for almost all year, and in February, we moved them, so we're not moving. So I'm really putting it on the kids that you get to stay where you are, but you've got to make sure you're doing your stuff in IXL and practicing for us. Let's see. We're almost at the end of we're almost going into the postseason for girls soccer and boys basketball. Boys played their last game last night against Keeling. 8th grade is undefeated. I think A and B teams both. I know 7th grade B team is undefeated, and I think 7th grade A, I don't know their score, but they lost at least 2 or 3 games in there. But they still may play for like a third or like a consolation game at some point. Girls soccer, I know the A team is undefeated. They play Keeling this weekend, tomorrow. And then B team lost 1 game. And B team also had a game canceled because of the weather. So they don't have that many games on their schedule for B team. But stay up to date. We'll be sending out information on where they're playing for the postseason games and if we make it all the way to the championships. And then we'll get into tennis season and track season. And then we end the year. It's so crazy. This year has been like going by really fast. All right, let's see, what else do I have here? We had a wonderful Lunar New Year celebration on Friday with the Dragon Dance performance from Summit. It had students from Murchison and from Anderson that were able to come over and the kids loved it. The student audience loved the whole celebration as well. And so that's also on our YouTube channel, just like this video is gonna be on there. So if you haven't seen it, just go to our MMS student media and it's on there. You can watch all 3 celebrations on there. It was really, really fun. So let's see what else we have. Currently in PE classes, they're doing a middle school rowing showdown. We've had the gentleman here from Austin Rowing Club, and they usually do a rowing unit anyway, and he's here. It's some kind of virtual rowing, so I'm not sure how it's all set up, but we entered the contest, and our 6th grade PE classes are doing it, and they're doing that this week as well. My next thing is this month, we have our Black History Luncheon. That's on Thursday of next week. We do that every year. That's our annual luncheon. People sign up and bring, it's on kind of potluck side type. People bring things, but PTA usually provides the meat and drinks and everything for that as well. So that's it for February for me. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Is there any unfinished business? Okay, reminder of events coming up. We've got spring break March 16th through the 20th. Cesar Chavez holiday is Tuesday, March 31st. There's another student holiday on Monday, April 6th. And our next PTA general meeting and principal chat is going to be Friday, April 17th. we're going to not do spring break mess in March. Any other announcements or questions?
Oh, I have a question.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure you can answer it, but I noticed that there's been a fence put up by the track.
Yes.
Can you kind of speak to that, why it happened?
Yes.
So we've had a real issue of either people using our track during school hours. That's been a problem, and our PE classes go out there, and then there's the adults taking over the track. And then we also have people that bring their pets, and they don't clean up after them. And so before soccer games, our coaches have had to clean the field before the game, or even when we've had our football games there. So we're going to try. We're going to have a fence. I know it was also coming to other campuses anyway, like just security-wise, and so we're like, well, we have an issue, so let's see if we can get ahead of it. I do want to say that I think they went too far with the fence. We wanted just the track kind of area, but now it's down by the kickball fields, and so I'm just like, no, we gotta have, because the kickball fields aren't really like ours. It's Austin, and so we don't need that part fenced off. So we're gonna have to talk to the fence people, but we'll see how that goes. So we'll have to kind of redo our evacuation and stuff like that, and see who all needs keys. Because I know we have I-9 sports and we have some other sports that use our fields, and I'm fine with them having access. But we're hoping it'll cut down on just some. I'm just gonna bring my pet and just leave all the stuff on the field. So we'll see.
Will it be kind of like after school hours and on weekends?
That's my thought. I'm gonna work with my building use manager that coordinates all of that, and we'll figure out who would need keys and like when it would be locked and unlocked. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll fess up, I was one of the ones that would go before, because I would come and drop my daughter off. It's like, I'm here. Let me
Yeah,
go.
I know. Yeah. But during the school hours, like our classes are going out there, so we'll see. That'll help us. Thank you for asking. Thank you.
I was out there this weekend and people were parasailing off the hill. It's like, this is amazing. Okay, anything else, anyone? Okay, hearing none, the meeting is adjourned at 8:46. I would like to now to introduce our IB coordinator, Ms. Meyer. She was the IB teacher here at Markson for several years. Now she's IB coordinator. She is teaching IB character traits and IB mindset of thinking globally.
Yay, Miss Meyer.
So I am here to talk a little bit about the community service project that all 8th graders at Markson Middle School are expected to participate in. As an IB World School, all year 3 students in the middle years program, which for us is 8th grade, participate in service, and that is globally. So if you had a child of the same age at a school in any other country with the IB program, it is the same expectation. Overall, students are expected to have about 15 hours culminated on one project. So it's not necessarily I went and did 2 hours at the food bank, and then I did 2 hours picking up trash at my local park. It's more students are meant to decide on a topic that they are passionate about and continuously work toward whatever goal they set related to that topic. There has been communication that went out to all of our 8th grade parents about the 4 phases of the project. And for the 4 phases of the project, there are different checkpoints that we're looking for students to meet within a certain time frame. Since this is a very long-term project, we need ways of kind of keeping track of where students are in the status of this project. The way it works is all our 8th graders are in an advisory class, and their advisory teacher essentially serves as their supervisor. And then I oversee the entirety of the projects for all 8th graders. So I have a document that has information on every 8th grade student and what their plans are. And then I also will get communication from the 8th grade advisory teacher regarding certain checkpoints that have been set.
I am here to kind of answer questions y'all have about the project or about the requirements, just to give y'all additional information that you may have some curiosities on, but that's overall the like basic explanation of it. Yes?
So I have a rising 8th grader. So next year, as an 8th grade parent, am I going to get some communication about that requirement?
So in the Matador Matters weekly newsletter that goes to the community, there's an International Baccalaureate section whenever you scroll down. And I've been updating that, I want to say, since like September or October when we had that added. And it's had information on like what phase that we're in within that project. And then as we've gotten more into the specifics of the project, there has been additional communication regarding like expectations for dates of where students should be. And then on the Murchison website, in the IB section, there's a community service subpage that has, a lot of information regarding the project and the expectations.
Oh, and that's where about the project?
On the Murchison website, in the IB section, under community service.
So as far as the project timeline, would that be established with the advisor?
So the timeline, the students are given the information regarding the service project through advisory. So I make like a calendar of events, and it goes through, here's what you need to talk about with 8th graders this week. Like at least twice a month I make a video where I'm talking to the 8th grade students and showing them. We have a whole website that is available to our 8th grade students and the 8th grade advisory teachers, and I'm like walking them through like parts of the website where there's resources. But the timeline is more, I have kind of expectations for the phases, since they do start working on it in the fall and it goes through the spring. I don't know if that answers your question, but there's...
So would parents get like a status report, or let's say someone falls behind and we need them to kind of pick it up?
So for example, right now, I have some 8th grade students that have not submitted a project proposal, which is the very first step. And that was asked for in December. Our first course of action is notifying the student, since it is their project and we are trying to get them to become independent learners. And then I also notify the advisory teacher. And then we are sending out notification to those parents as well via email.
How is your effort in progress documented? Who says how many hours they've contributed?
That is up to the student to do.
So it's kind of like an online system. I've done 8 hours so far on this project.
Yes, and then there's ways that they collect evidence. That can be like photographs of them taking action. Let's say that they are doing a mural or something. Like they could document by taking photos along the way. Students also have, so there's slideshows that the students work on that I have created that have like editable portions. And the students have like different reflection points or questions. Like they, for example, they have like where they're filling out a timeline of here's what I'm expecting myself to do within a certain amount of time. Or there's also a progress check monitor where they're putting how much time that they've put toward a certain task. So it is not set up where we just ask students, please go do 15 hours of service and let me know. It is very detailed and like step by step to guide them through that.
And they can do a project as
they can work either solo, in a partnership, or up to a group of 3.
Oh, how do they present? Do they present their project during the year?
So ideally, we would have an opportunity for all of the 8th graders to present what they do. In a school of our size, that is incredibly challenging. So what we've done the past few years is during the 8th grade showcase, which is kind of like they're moving on to high school ceremony, we've had a part where in past years students have all made trifold boards where they show what they completed and how that process went for them. And that is available for the community as they're at that event to like see what they did. And we will have something like that this year. I talked with Ms. Harris that I'm kind of curious to explore a few options as far as like what students can present or how, but there is a way for them to show what they have completed.
And I am a project manager, can you tell?
Yes.
Who's responsible for providing materials for the project? And then who's responsible for their physical safety or any damage they may cause while they're doing their project?
So with regards to the providing of materials, that depends on what they're doing for their project. So if they're doing something that directly supports Murchison, they can fill out, it's called like a grant proposal that the students can fill out. Let's say they're picking up trash around Murchison, or they're repainting the lockers. That's when I then go to PTA, and Karen Knipe and I have had a little bit of this conversation, need to go a little more in detail, where since it's benefiting Murchison, we can help to provide those materials. If students are doing something outside of the Murchison campus, which they can, they would need to provide their own materials.
Which means that parents provide the materials.
It could be that. We have also, the other way I've presented it to students is, like, for example, if they're part of like a scouting troop, or maybe in a church community or something, that they can utilize that community as a way to get materials or to get supplies, or if they are collecting goods, trying to think of their sphere of influence in a way as far as how they can get people involved.
Okay, so I'm just curious, since the parents didn't get to approve or consent to their kids' project, how the kids are going to get those materials to do the project if the parents aren't willing to provide them?
I think that's a conversation that I can have with that parent. Yeah.
I think for me it was just news, like recent news, that the IB project completion would affect their end of the year eligibility to participate in the end of the year activities.
Mhm.
So I didn't see that at the beginning of the year, and you know, just I'd be checking in more often if that was the case. But it would be really sad if some kids didn't get to participate as a group, because 8th graders are last year, maybe because participating in the project or completion fully to the project. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes.
Is there parents sign off at any point in the process?
There's not. It's not. I mean, we're following what's in our IB stuff, and it's not there. That's something we can consider.
At least that we know.
Yeah, but it's not on the phases and things that we're asked to do for IB. It's not on there. So
Yeah. Because I'm following documentation provided by the International Baccalaureate.
Yeah.
And there's like a 100-something page document that I'm like going through and following all the steps involved.
I think it's just
Yeah.
to show where you're
And I will say, like, I just want to emphasize there are a lot of materials, or maybe not materials is the word, a lot of resources provided to them. I came in, this is my first year as IB coordinator, and I took what has been done the past few years and made the choice to then create an even more detailed, like, step-by-step process for the students, because I understand how big of an undertaking that is whenever you're 13, 14 years old. I mean, from a personal level, I was a Girl Scout for 18 years. I did my bronze, silver, and gold award. Like, I've had the personal experience of, like, what that looks like and how challenging it can be to handle a long-term project. But there are a lot of systems in place to help students with every phase of that, and not hopefully make them feel like they're wading water. Yes.
Just piggybacking, I think everyone should hold space for the fact that this is like first year that you're in this role and probably doing things a little bit different than they have been in the past, probably on par with, you said you're following all the procedures. Because it's medical, hearing what Caroline said, that's a great point about they're going to have to do this on their own. Ben, my eighth grader, he's like your typical first child. I do have my middle son, who, if it was the situation, he would be struggling with, he and I would be struggling with getting this project done and getting information. And so I definitely understand that there are a lot of kids in that role. I do think, I want to echo what Eric has suggested, it's just like a parent, have them sign something that says that they understand the timeline and what the consequences are, so that everybody knows and it's on the same page, and it doesn't come back on you guys so hard because you have a signed consent that every parent is aware. I just think that would probably help, and then I think it would alleviate because everybody would be aware and it wouldn't be an issue. So my 2 cents for what it's worth. I see all the sides, but no one's doing anything wrong. I think you're doing great individuals.
And I mean, that's something that Ms. Harris and I can have more conversations about.
Does it say it has to be independent for a group of 3?
It does. The IB,
It's specific on.
oh, they put it in every 5 pages. It is bold, and I was like, I get it. Yep, okay, again, noted. I will tell you, they did that in previous years, and we got evaluated by the IB, and they were not a fan of that at all. Yep.
What were they not a fan of?
The entire advisory was doing a project, so that would be like 20-something children working toward the same initiative. Yeah. And I see where the IB is coming from in that, because when you have that many people working toward one thing, it is very challenging to provide each child an opportunity to be active. And especially since so much of this project is focused on leadership and being a self-starter, if you have a group that big, like, there's really no way to properly give that experience to every child. But I will say, like, it is something that they can choose to do within the Murchison community or outside of that. So I have a lot of students that are very passionate about animals. I have a lot of students that are making like dog toys out of salvaged materials that they will then be donating to a shelter, right? And hey, if that's what they want to do, they are more than welcome. It is never my intention to limit anything they want to do. I want to make sure that it is realistic and achievable because I want to set them up for success. But other than that, it's student choice. Anything else?
Thank you for being here. See you guys April 17th.
All right. See y'all in April. Okay, it's off. Is it off?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was afraid to like,
I know. And he has his mics right there too.
Yeah.
I'm always like, is this going to clash with those mics? Thank you.
So Susanna gave it to me as a gift, and I leave it in there.